The reason you're getting ghosted has almost nothing to do with your looks, your job, or how funny you are. And if you've ever found yourself trying to be the nice guy, cracking jokes, giving compliments, only to be met with confusing signals or complete silence, it's because you've been handed the wrong playbook. The truth is, attraction isn't about the specific words you say, it's about how your entire way of communicating sends one specific psychological signal. A signal of safety and genuine confidence that women are subconsciously scanning for at all times. In this video, I'm going to give you the exact evidence-backed method for sending that signal. This is a system called the Secure Signal Framework, and it will fundamentally change how you move from confused to connected. So what is this framework actually built on? It's not about learning random tips or clever lines. It's about embodying one core psychological principle, secure attachment. We call this the Secure Signal Framework, your new playbook for how to talk and act in a way that automatically broadcasts security, confidence, and safety. Instead of juggling 100 conflicting rules, you anchor everything to this one lens, so she feels relaxed, seen, and genuinely excited to engage with you, instead of confused or on edge. Think of it this way. A secure man is like a lighthouse. He is a stable, reliable beacon that guides ships safely. He doesn't chase after them in a panic, and he doesn't dim his light, hoping they'll somehow notice him. He's just there, solid, confident, and guiding. That is the energy you are going to learn to project. Here's why this works so well, especially right now. In a dating world full of ghosting and uncertainty, that lighthouse energy signals deep emotional reliability. And this isn't just a poetic metaphor. It's backed by solid research, decades of attachment psychology, from Bowlby's foundational work to a 2022 speed dating study by Tu and colleagues, all point in the same direction. Secure traits like direct communication, emotional stability, and healthy boundaries are consistently rated as the most desirable qualities in a partner, above physical attractiveness. Those secure attachment traits are the foundation of everything here. They show up as consistent behavior, and the specific phrases and responses you'll learn next are how the secure signal framework actually shows up in conversation. The behavioral fingerprints of that secure man. Now that you know the secret is about sending secure signals, I'm curious, which of the old insecure rules, like wait 3 days to text or always play it cool, has been the most frustrating for you? Tell me in the comments, because honestly, those scripts have been exhausting and confusing, and it's not your fault. You are handed bad rules. As you think about those, keep them in the back of your mind, because we're about to replace every one of those broken rules with something that actually works. It starts with the single most fundamental signal you can send. It's the first building block of the entire framework, and you can use it on your very next date, or even in your next text exchange. And that first signal, the foundation of the entire framework, is clarity. You have to eliminate confusion, because the minute she's guessing what you mean, her attraction starts to drain. Women are exhausted by mixed signals and vague intentions. Being a source of clarity is not just refreshing. It's a powerful form of leadership that makes her feel safe and seen. I'm going to give you a 3-step playbook for this. How you open, how you plan, and how you close. First, the opening. You must be direct with your intent. This means no more vague hints like, we should hang out sometime. That puts all the pressure on her to figure out what you mean. Instead, you make a clear, confident statement. Here's exactly what to say. I'd really like to take you out. Are you free sometime this week? In studies where women rated different approaches, direct invitations like this were consistently seen as more attractive than vague, we should hang out texts, because they signal real confidence and sharply reduce the kind of confusion that makes her anxious. Second, the planning. Once she said yes, you lead the logistics. This is where so many men drop the ball, not because they're bad guys, but because no one ever taught them how to lead the plan. A man who says, "So what do you want to do?" is unintentionally transferring all the mental work to her. A leader removes that burden. Here's what that sounds like. Great. Let's grab a coffee at that spot you mentioned. Does Thursday or Friday work better for you? I'll handle the reservation. See the difference? You're still being collaborative. You're using her suggestion and giving her options, but you're the one steering the ship. This demonstrates competence and consideration, which is incredibly attractive. Finally, the closing. How you end the date is just as important as how you started. You need to end with clear intention. At the end of a great date, don't just say, "Well, this was fun." That's weak. It leaves her wondering, does he actually like me? Will I hear from him again? You eliminate that post-date anxiety by making your feelings known. A simple, "I had a great time with you tonight. Let's do this again soon." This is bold, it's clear, and it creates positive momentum. A 2024 study in social, psychological, and personality science found that clear, positive endings like this are a strong predictor of whether people actually see each other again. They make the other person feel chosen and secure. As the saying goes, clarity is masculine and it is rare. Be that rare man. Now, mastering this 3-step sequence of clarity is a massive advantage because very few men consistently communicate this way from start to finish. But I have to give you a critical warning. If you only use clarity without the signal we're about to cover next, you risk coming across as demanding, rigid, or even controlling. Think of the guy who plans every minute of the date, never checks what she likes, and texts, "We're doing this at 7. I'll pick you up." Whether that works for her or not, that's clarity with no room for her. And it feels like an order instead of an invitation. Clarity gets her attention, but it needs to be paired with another quality to make her feel genuinely invited and excited, not just instructed. And that balancing signal is exactly what we're going to break down next. That balancing signal is what we call presence. And it's the difference between making a woman feel looked at and making her feel truly seen. Any guy can notice her appearance. A secure man notices her essence. Women are turned on when they feel seen, not just looked at. So how do you do this? First, by upgrading your compliments. Wrong way, looks only. "You're so beautiful." "You have pretty eyes." "You're gorgeous." It's not offensive. It's just what every other guy says. It sounds like you're reacting to her body, not actually paying attention. Right way. Secure signal. Aim at her inner world. Here's exactly what to say instead. "You have a really calming energy." "I love your passion when you talk about your work." "I like the way you think. Talking to you is easy." These land as confident, not needy, because you're making a clear observation, not begging for a reaction. Why this works is, you're not just validating her physical shell, you're reflecting back who she is, her mind, her vibe, her way of moving through the world. Most men never leave the safety of, "You're so hot," and then wonder why she files them under every other guy. This inner quality compliment is the cheat code. It shows true confidence without over-complimenting or chasing her approval. To her, it reads as emotional intelligence. You actually see beyond the surface. And she feels safe to relax and open up around you. Second, use signal presence by demonstrating genuine curiosity. Instead of, "How was your day?" ask a thoughtful, open-ended question. What's something you're working on right now that you're excited about? Or, what makes you feel the most like yourself? When you ask a question like this, you're not just making conversation. You can literally watch her switch off autopilot. She pauses, looks up, and starts sharing stories, opinions, and little details most men never get to hear. You're handing her a mirror and saying, "Show me the real you. I'm genuinely interested." That feeling of being truly seen is incredibly rare and incredibly attractive, and almost no men create it on purpose. And this isn't just a nice idea. The famous 36 questions study by Aaron and his team in 1997 found that asking progressively deeper, personal questions can dramatically speed up how intimate two strangers feel. So when you lead with this kind of curiosity, you instantly separate yourself from 99% of the guys in her DMs who never get past wide and how's your day. In her mind, you move into a different category, the one man who actually gets her. So now you have clarity and presence. You can lead the interaction and you can make her feel seen. But there is a hidden trap here. All this amazing connection can collapse under its own weight if you're not careful. If you don't add the final signal, all your effort can quietly start to look like overinvesting and desperation. This last signal is what separates fleeting attraction from lasting security, and it's what makes your confidence land as solid strength instead of neediness. We need to talk about stability. So, stability. At its core, it's the signal that you are emotionally grounded and have self-respect. It's what quietly tells her you're a safe harbor. And this isn't just theory. Large-scale surveys like the Singles in America study keep finding the same thing. Women rank emotional maturity as one of the top traits in a partner, often higher than income or even looks. Stability is how you let her feel that maturity in the way you talk, react, and carry yourself. First, you project stability through emotional confidence. That means you're not in a rush or desperate for a specific outcome. Your mood doesn't live and die by how fast she texts back. You're interested, but your self-worth is not on the table. Emotional confidence has a very specific energy. It's calm and warm, not loud and performative. You can show it early on with a simple, steady line like, "I'm enjoying getting to know you and I'm not in a rush. I want to see if the right things line up for both of us." Or, "I like you, but I'm not trying to rush anything." Why this works is her nervous system hears. No pressure, no hidden agenda. She feels, he likes me, but he's not trying to force this or grab something from me. That safety actually makes her more open to you because she doesn't feel like she has to manage your feelings. Quick contrast, because this is where a lot of guys self-sabotage. Grounded confidence is very different from arrogance or fake detachment. Arrogance is bragging, teasing too hard, or acting like you don't care at all. Fake detachment is pretending you're busy while you're secretly obsessing over your phone. Stability, on the other hand, feels like you're present, you're kind, you're genuinely curious about her, and you're still okay with your life whether this turns into something or not. She feels chosen, not dismissed. If you say you're not in a rush, but your behavior is over-texting, double and triple messaging, or constantly trying to lock in the next plan, she'll feel that desperation underneath. The words are confident, but the signal is needy. Your job is to align the two. Second, and this is crucial, you communicate stability through healthy boundaries. A lot of men are scared of this. They worry that setting a boundary will sound mean or push her away. So they over-accommodate. They accept flaky texting, last-minute cancellations, and vague we'll see plans, and then wonder how they ended up months deep in a confusing situationship with someone who isn't really showing up. This is exactly how good men burn out and start to resent women, and it's completely avoidable. Boundaries are not about being rigid or cold. They're about respecting yourself enough to build something real and refusing to participate in drama or guessing games. A woman of quality is deeply attracted to a man who respects himself because it tells her she won't have to carry the emotional leadership alone. Here's exactly what that can sound like when there's real tension or recurring confusion. Not on a light first date, but when something is actually felt off more than once. If something feels off, I'd rather talk about it with you directly instead of guessing. Why this lands is simple. Her body hears, he's not going to punish me with silence, but he's also not going to sit in confusion and pretend it's fine. She feels more respected and more accountable at the same time. That's stability. You're saying, I'm here, I'm open, But I'm not going to live in emotional fog. I've watched so many men do the opposite. Laugh things off, make excuses for her, and silently hope it will fix itself. That's how you end up carrying all the emotional weight while she never has to step up. A single clear boundary cuts through that. Finally, all of this comes together in the I want you but I don't need you mindset. This is mainly an internal setting, not a line you drop on a date. Internally, it sounds like, I want you but I don't need you to validate me. In practice, it looks like this. She has to reschedule a date. From neediness, you panic, get passive-aggressive, or rush to offer 5 new options just to keep her. From stability, you might say, no worries, thanks for letting me know. Let me know when you're free and we'll see if we can line something up. If rescheduling becomes a pattern, you don't beg harder. You step back because your time matters too. Or her texting slows down. From neediness, you spiral, start over-texting, and try to win her back with effort. From stability, you notice the shift, match her pace, and stay engaged with your own life. If she leans back in, great. If she fades out, you're disappointed. But you're not shattered, because your sense of worth was never hanging on her reply. Why this feels so good to a woman is she gets 2 things at once. She feels genuinely wanted, and she feels emotionally safe. You're not using her attention to patch holes in your self-esteem. You're bringing a full life to the table and inviting her into it. So you see, emotional confidence, healthy boundaries, and non-needy interest aren't separate tactics you deploy. They're different facets of the same core quality, a man who knows his own worth. When you embody that, you stop chasing little hits of validation from her reactions and stay steady whether she's hot, cold, or just figuring herself out. That is stability. And it's the anchor that makes all your other signals feel secure, genuine, and deeply attractive to the right woman. So now you have the complete blueprint. The 3 core pillars of the secure signal framework, projecting clarity through decisive leadership, showing presence through deep validation, and anchoring it all with emotional stability and self-respect. But I need to be very clear. The secure signal framework was never just about getting a first date. What you've really been installing is a new communication operating system for your entire life. It's the same clarity when you tell a friend what you actually want to do this weekend, and the same stability when you set a boundary with your boss without snapping or shutting down. And I'm not sharing this as some feel-good pep talk. We actually have long-term data on this. 10-year longitudinal studies, like one from Joe Len and his team in 2022, tracked thousands of couples and looked at how they communicated over time. Couples who stayed clear, made each other feel understood, and didn't lean on guilt or clinginess tended to stay happier together, argue less, and report better mental health. Those communication habits were among the strongest predictors of whether a relationship stayed in a high satisfaction trajectory or slid into distance and resentment. Why this works is simple. When you're clear, validating, and emotionally grounded instead of needy, what we've been calling clarity, presence, and stability, her nervous system finally relaxes, and that's exactly what the couples who last are doing for each other. So the skills you're building for a first date are the same skills that keep a relationship healthy years down the line. Most guys never get this spelled out. They just wing it and hope. The fact that you've stuck with this framework and started using these signals already puts you ahead of most men. And as you keep going, you'll feel calmer, less anxious about messing it up, and more in control of how your connections unfold. By practicing these signals, you're not just fixing your dating life. You're investing in a future with fewer mixed signals, less walking on eggshells, and relationships that actually feel secure and exciting for both of you. Every rep you put in from here is a deposit into your long-term relationships and your own peace of mind. So start practicing tonight. Start small, and if this framework gave you that aha moment, hit that subscribe button because we're here to give you the tools that actually work. Thank you for watching.